Hello and welcome to our daily market update. It's Wednesday, April 8th, and we'll be with you with the short market review and updates about the geopolitical news, economic news, what's going on in the financial market, and what we're expecting to see in the next hours or next 24 hours. Let's basically see it this way. Again, the market moved by someone who never want to leave the headlines. Donald Trump. Uh, During his presidency, he was also in the top of the all headlines. Every day he will find something to be in the top of the news and move the markets. Last night, finally, Donald Trump accepted the Iranian 10 days, 2 weeks actually, ceasefire offer, which actually somehow we can say it was offered by Pakistanis in one hand. On the other hand, we don't know really what happened there because uh, what we know that the ceasefire happened. Now, Islamic Republic based in Iran and United States they agreed for 15 days ceasefire and to give the chance to the talks, peace talks. Let's see what's going to happen on the peace talks. But I'm telling we don't know exactly what happened behind because the story starts most probably from yesterday's United Nations Security Council meeting, where Jordanis offered where the Jordanis came with the plan that if all the countries they can somehow the guard and support the military, they have a military support during their ships passing the Strait of Hormuz. So that was very tricky because if Iranian would attack those army ships covering somehow the cargo ships, that could start with the war. That's why, in one hand, on the other hand, sounds like the Chinese made a deal with Islamic Republic. They told that okay, we're gonna vote against, which the China and Russian they voted against this Jordan's plan. Voted against it, so they didn't pass in the United Nations Security Council. So it sounds like the Chinese had a push on Iranian side to accept this somehow the 2 weeks ceasefire. It sounds like they pushed to be accepted, to push to be to accept this ceasefire. I'm telling you why that's happened because and why they didn't want it and why that the winner is the United States and the global economy right now, for now at least, for the next 2 weeks. Because first of all, the Shahbaz Sharif, the president of the prime minister of Pakistan, when tweeted about the ceasefire, there was a perhaps written that the president of Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif. So what? And then he deleted. In the edit, he deleted this part. If Shabbos Sharif wants to write his own, I mean, just like to write his own, it's not writing it this way. But if his teams wants to write, they don't write the president of the president for the president of Pakistan. They will write it for the president or something like that. Anyhow, it sounds like I mean, what many uh, analyst says and believes that sounds like this text was prepared by someone else, and he was the only one that he was only the tweeting person, not exactly the decided side. Anyhow, that sounds like Chinese, especially after Donald Trump tweets which say that this ceasefire came because of the hard working of JD Vance from our side and the Chinese support. So all this brings the idea that the Chinese had a very important role in this ceasefire, pushing Iranian side to accept this 2 weeks ceasefire, the 15 days ceasefire. Why? I'm telling that's mostly the main winner is the United States because United States and the world they're gonna have 2 weeks, 2 weeks to pass all the oil that have been reserved and have been staying in the Persian Gulf out of this area. So and sent back so many other new cargo ships to refill this oil. That gives the chance to the energy market, as happened right now, to get somehow the balance, and even the many countries they can refill their reservoirs. That's why we can see if the war again starts, then the shock will not be that hard that many they were talking about. I mean, if the after these 2 weeks again, if we have the war for next 2 months, again the maximum oil price will be around $120, the maximum, as that was going towards that side. Anyhow, from the energy market, that gives the chance to the energy market to refill all these reservoirs. That's why we can say the winner is the energy market at the first. And secondly, the United States had a war for more than 40 days, so mostly their ships, their navies, especially the aircraft carriers, they need again to get some rest. They need to have some more military equipments that they use in the last 40 days, the equipments that they need to be refilled, to the reserved and stuff like that. The staff that working there, they need to be changed to replace with the new soldiers. Someone go back home, someone come back there. And also the countries around the Persian Gulf also, they needed some rest to get this, to get everything, especially with the latest, the promise that the European give to the Persian Gulf, that we are going to send some anti-missile just like just like anti what's it, the military name of that, I forget it. That's the anti-missiles that they're attacking they're supporting and saving against the Iranian missiles, to all the Iranian missiles, and also drones. So all these gives the chance to the countries in this around the Persian Gulf and United States to get more ready for the period that if the war wants to start again after 2 weeks. On the other hand, for the Iranian side, if for Iranian side, yes, can take a rest, but the problem is that they don't have access to the money still. The sanctions still are there. The maximum thing that they can get back to the country, get inside the country, is even the money. They cannot take the money inside the country. The maximum thing is that they can get some food inside the country and hold back of the situation of the food crisis in the country, because we know in the recent days the country was going towards the food crisis. So that can somehow give the chance to the people to get out and buy more products, buy more foods for the period that if the war wants to continue, and even the harder. So for now, the main gainer of this ceasefire is United States and the global economy, especially if we say that that cannot be continued after 2 weeks. However, for now, we don't know many things, especially about that ceasefire cover the Israel and Hamas attack, Israel and Hamas war as well, or in the Lebanon or not. Pakistani says it covered that. Israeli says no. In the Persian Gulf, the Iranian says that if the ships wants to pass over the Strait of Hormuz, they have to somehow to talk and just like accept ask the Iranian army. Actually, they have to give the permission, ask the permission from the Iranian army. But on the other hand, the American says that we are going to support and help the traffic, the ship traffic through the Hormuz, passing through the Hormuz. Many details we don't know, but we know that the main point in this ceasefire is the Strait of Hormuz to be open. If anything happened there, that can be the end. On the other hand, the Iranian leader who was killed at the very first day of the war, Ali Khamenei, is still not. It's not. I mean, they couldn't have a funeral for him. Sounds like they can now, out of 40 days, they can now have a funeral for him. But there is a very important question comes out. After Ali Khamenei, his son, Mustafa Khamenei, sounds like a new leader, but we didn't see him yet. We didn't hear him yet. And now all the videos and the voice of him, it was by the AI. None of the real videos or the voice come out from him, and no one see him even. So now if in the funeral, if he can will he come out or not, whether he's so we'll understand if he's alive or not, because there are many news they say that he is not alive, and even he's alive in a very bad health situation, and we cannot talk, cannot even think. So that's why the country is leading with someone by someone else, and there are many I mean, insiders bring the news that says that there are many issues between I mean, the leaders inside the country. So let's see what's going to happen. These next 2 weeks will give us a bigger picture of what's going on inside Iran. We know that the many leaders have been killed, and we don't know exactly who is killed and who is not. So in next 15 days, we will understand what's going on, and that can give again another very important chance to armies, to Israelis intelligence, especially Israelis and Americans intelligence services, to understand what's going on. Don't forget the Iranian sky is still under control of the United States, and they say that they are not going to leave there until they reach the peace agreement, which is very less likely with this condition and situation that we have right now. Anyhow, that's what happened. Reactions. Bond deals fell sharply from 4.34% bond 10-year US 10 years bond yields fell to 4.24. Very amazing. Same situation we could see for the bond yields in other economies. So it sounds like the risk premium is lowering with the VIX down under 22. That supported the stock markets. We know that after that the US stocks closed mixed last night. In the future market, we had a very good reaction. The US Dow Jones increased by almost 2.4%, S&P 500 gaining by 2.6%, but Nasdaq is gaining by more than 3.2%. That's amazing reaction. Even the small cap is trading by 3.6% higher. You know, that's a very amazing and fantastic reaction in the stock markets. Again, the Donald Trump did what he wanted, supported the stock markets, lowered the oil prices as well. We had the same reaction in the Asian markets as well. The Asian stocks gained amazing, especially in the Nikkei and Kospi in South Korea. Nikkei gained by 5.4%, more than 5.4%. The Kospi almost 6.9%, supporting by the geopolitical news and supporting by the AI and tech stocks as well. Both of them, they are very deeply dependent on the tech stocks and the news that comes from the AI and technology, especially with the Samsung supporting the Kospi in South Korea very much. We had the same positive reaction in other Asian stocks and from India to Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, all of them, they had a very good and positive reaction. As we know that the oil price is rapidly, WTI is trading around $96, while the Brent oil trading around $94. Both of them were losing almost 15%, 14%, 15%. Showing that the prime market risk is down. However, don't forget, even the war is not ended yet. That's just ceasefire, one. And the second, because of the lower inventories in many economies, the demand is high. And this higher demand holding back the prices to fall further. Don't forget about these two options, about the oil and energy prices. We know that the gas price also fell rapidly down to $2.70 after we know that opening the Strait of Hormuz will let the Qataris, especially Qataris LNG gas to pass, even the Iranians LNG gas to go out of this Strait of Hormuz, and many buyers they can buy them and refill their inventories. Anyhow, with the weaker US dollar index, which we know that the US dollar index in the currency market is down towards 90, if I don't mistake, it's a 99.80, if I don't mistake it, down is 99.80. That's why we could see the other currencies against US dollar get slightly stronger. On the other hand, we know that the commodities with the lower yields in one hand and the lower weaker US dollar gained amazingly. We know that the gold is gaining by more than 2.3%, while the silver is up by 7.3%. Gold is trading at about $4,800, 840, and silver about $77, and that's amazing prices for them. The same positive reaction we had in the cryptocurrency market. The cryptocurrency sounds like happy with this news. Bitcoin moving towards $72,000. Ethereum around $2,250. Same we can see in Ripple, Solana, BNB, and other cryptocurrencies. All of them they are gaining. They are positive and they enjoy this positive geopolitical news that we had in the ceasefire. The main market driver that we had so far from yesterday till now. Don't forget that yesterday we had amazing news. We had very important news actually in economic calendar as well, especially with the PMI numbers. Service PMI yesterday published in the most economies, especially in the European economies, and we saw that the weaker PMI number in the service sector, and these weaker PMI numbers sent the composite PMI also lower in the most economies. Even thought in some of them it was better than expected, but it was lower than previous month. Like for example, in the French, service PMI from 49.6 eased to 48.8. Even thought it was slightly better than 48.3, but weaker than the previous one, generally showing that economic activities in the service sector is lower compared with the previous month. That's the March numbers, the period that the war started. The same reaction we could see in other economies across Europe and the United States, United Kingdom as well, same as United States. In United States, we had durable goods orders as well. The headline fell by 1.4%, mostly because weaker or less orders for the aircrafts. However, for the Boeing, we had a less order for the Boeing, but on the other hand, excluding the transportation and defense, we could see durable goods orders increased by 0.8%. Very good, highest in a month. That sounds like a very good. On the other hand, we had the red book numbers increasing by 7.6%. That's amazing, showing that while in other economies we have a retail sales problem, in the United States, the red book says that shows that the retail sales and the consumer demand is high, and that can support the GDP as well. Even thought that in the recent days we had a GDP now index lower. We know that in the most recent expectations is for the first quarter it is to for the second quarter it is to 1.3%. That's not a good number for the second quarter GDP in United States, but that's what the market right now for now is expecting. Yesterday we had EIA short-term energy outlook as well, the monthly report. However, since that we had a ceasefire right after that, the market somehow ignored this report. The report that they say that they are very worried about that even the crisis that may happen if this war continues further. So that's somehow the we can say that now with the ceasefire can be ignored, but better to read it. API weekly report also showed that despite all the issues that we had in the energy market, U.S. inventories in the private sector increased by more than 3.7 million barrels last week. Even thought it's less than previous weeks, more than 10 million barrels increase, but still the inventory is increasing. That was also another reason that we saw that energy prices in the lower levels. So far today, we had the Reserve Bank or central banks meeting in India and New Zealand. Both of them, they held the interest rate unchanged. And that was what expected by the market, as we know that there are the very high risk of the increasing the inflation. That we don't know even that this ceasefire, even with the current ceasefire, we don't know even that how long it's gonna it can continue. Can it ends with the the peace agreement or not? Just as a ceasefire for 15 days, no more. That's why the market is still counting on a higher inflation. The Indian Reserve Bank or Reserve Bank of India increased its expectations for the inflation and lowered its GDP growth for 2026 and 2027. That was very important to see. Reserve Bank of New Zealand or RBNZ didn't have updates in this meeting for its inflation and GDP growth expectation. Next, economic expectations will be out on May meeting for Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Don't forget about that. In Japan, we had labor market data with the average cash earnings increasing by 3.3%. Amazing number. That while the overall wages income also increased by 3.3%. Both numbers shows that labor market's gaining more, and that can somehow support the inflation as well. So that's now we have a more chance, especially with the higher energy prices. We have now more chance for 25 basis point rate hike in Japan. Don't forget about that. Look for the Central Bank of Japan or Bank of Japan BOJ, what they will decide in the next in their next meeting. So far, we know that the trade balance in the French also was negative. The European economies don't do good. Unemployment rate in Switzerland is to 3.1%, and non-seasonally and seasonally stayed unchanged at 3%. And later today, we're gonna have the PPI numbers, producer price index numbers from Eurozone will be very important. While the market also will watch the retail sales in the Eurozone. The retail sales in the Eurozone is amazingly low and weak. You have to watch and see what's going to happen. 10 years mortgage rate, 10 years bond auction we will have in Germany, which is expected to get lower. But on the other hand, the MBA 30 years mortgage rates for the United States is covering the previous weeks. And again, we're expecting the higher rates here. And again, the lower demand for the mortgage applications. That's what's supposed to be happened here. However, in the energy market, also don't forget to follow the EIA weekly report, which is going to be published later today. But the market will focus on FOMC meeting minutes, the main market driver of today. That's something that will tell us, because especially we know that the meeting of 2 weeks ago, it was during the war period, and the policymakers already know what's going on in the war. They have somehow the idea of the, or better say, the bigger picture of what's going on in the geopolitically. That's why this their expectations and their idea, which we will understand in a meeting minutes, will be very important for the markets, and markets will follow that. Don't forget to read the meeting minutes of the March meeting, which can affect directly the April expectations as well. The last day of April, we're going to have the next Federal Reserve meeting. That's what's happening in the market and what we are expecting generally with the expectations that we can say, with the expectation and with the market condition, we can say that with this situation, the market still, the stock market, still the expectations are positive. We are still positive by the stock markets. As long as this ceasefire continues, oil price can slightly ease, but don't forget, because of the higher demand, it cannot ease rapidly. Gold price can increase, bond yields can slightly ease, slowly, but all depend on the news and progress that comes from ceasefire and possible peace agreement. That's what happened in the market and what we're expecting to see. Hope it was useful for you. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.